This is Courtney Gaines, Malachi from Children of the Corn. You're listening to the Tim and listening to the Timo and Harley Show. All right.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Hacksaw Harley.
That's me. More like Jigsaw, but no. Yeah, I kid you.
How's it going, Mr. Harley? How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. It's going good, buddy. A little tired, but that's the story of my life anymore.
I've heard you've been running the entire screen printing factory by yourself. It's become a factory. It was a kitschy name at one time, but now it's become a factory, a one-man factory. Is this true?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. And so I've had a little help here and there, but yes, I need to build a robot, Timo. But the problem is I worry that those robots are going to take over.
Terrified of robots,
Yeah. So, I mean, they can take over all the work they want. That's, but when they start taking over my mind and other things, then we're in trouble.
People are at each other's throats in the world today over race. Meanwhile, I'm going, look at the fucking robots. I'm worried about our race over here, the human one, okay? We got robots to worry about, all right?
Exactly.
So let the robots bring us together, Mr. Ben Harley. That's right. So,
yes, they do.
Yes. So, I tell you what, this weekend while you were getting monkey arms, pulling squeegees over screens, I went over and did an interview with a one Garrett Enlow who runs the Mississippi Knights Facebook page. Mississippi Knights was a legendary club here in St. Louis where all the good stuff happened at, and Fragile Porcelain Mice cut her teeth there. So
and
it hurt. Ow!
Owie!
Yeah,
that's why you got teeth problems.
It's right. I have teeth problems. It is. The microphones kept bumping back into me all the time. So, he's writing a book about Mississippi Knights and the history of Mississippi Knights. I think he went back. It's like the building was old. So I think he actually took the building and went back in time. I'm not sure. It's his book, not mine. Yeah. I ain't got no patience writing no damn book. But he wanted to interview Fragile Porcelain Mice since, according to, here, I'll tell you what the little surprise was. So we walk in to Mr. Garrett Enlow's lovely estate, and who's sitting at the kitchen table but Mr. Rob Wagner?
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
he's a legend.
He is. A little surprise. Right, so he was there talking about Benton and Ultraman a little bit, because when I was an Ultraman, we did not play at Mississippi Nights. So it was when he was an Ultraman, they did Mississippi Nights show. Robbie asked me, "Did you play with Ultraman Mississippi Nights?" I go, "No." And I don't even remember if it was open when I was in there. I can't recall. I think it was. We just never did it. So either way, we all kind of sat around a table and went down and saw Mr. Garrett Enlow's basement. His basement is like a small version of my movie palace, except his is all like music, mostly heavy metal.
Good.
See, he's
a metal guy.
Yeah, he's definitely a man after your heart.
Yeah. Nice metal.
Right. So while we're downstairs too, lo and behold, he pulls out a book and says, "Here, this is a gift from me to you." And it is a book by the title of Heavy Metal Movies. Guitar Barbarians, Mutant Bimbos, and Cult Zombies Amok. In the 666 most ear and eye-ripping big screen films ever.
Nice.
Yeah. So pretty cool. No, it's got like stuff like Conan
That's
in
really
it.
cool, but yeah.
Let's see here. Eraserhead is in it.
What's the band? What's the name of Thor? That band? What's that?
I'm sure John Michael Thor or Michael Thor. Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it Rock and Roll Nightmare?
That's it. Yeah.
It was one of the Rock and Roll Zombie Nightmare, some bullshit too. He did. All I know is the classics on Mystery Science Theater.
That's awesome, though. That's great.
Yeah.
It's a cool book. We'll have to definitely dive into that one. I'm sure Trick or Treat's in there, right?
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's a good example of what is in the book. But it's got a lot of different stuff in it.
Yeah.
But very well. Thank you very much,
That's
Mr. Garrett Enlow. And
that's awesome. Man.
This means Mr. Ben Harley should this book get published, and I think it will. He's been working on it diligently for a while now.
That's cool.
That'll be
that's
two
really cool.
books that I will be in with both bands that I am in. So Ultraman will be represented and Fragile Porcelain Mice. So very happy about that.
Now you're making the rounds. Well, soon you're going to be a book on tape too. You'll be.
It just means that's how old we're getting. Now we're in books. We used to be on stage.
Now you're in books. History books.
In history books. Yes, we're in reference coffee table books, Mr. Ben Harley. So, what a life, right?
Hey, better than being forgotten, Tim.
That's true.
So there you go.
Absolutely true.
There you go.
So, thank you again, Mr. Garrett Enlow, and hello, Rob Wagner. It was good to see him
Wagner.
and talk a little music. Not much movies, mostly music while I was there. So, but I had a good time over there. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First up, Mr. Ben Harley, I was talking to my wife, Angio. I'd like to report back that she's still stable, doing okay. No weird symptoms or anything. We had to go back to get a scan to see how her treatments went, but until then, she's fine. She's okay.
Good.
But we were talking, and I was talking about our website, and I realized I never even talk about that we have a damn website when we're on the show. So the TimOandHarleyShow.com. There you go. There's no hyphen there, nothing between the Tim and the O. It's just the TimOandHarleyShow.com. And as we used to always remind people, you can email us. We do have an email address. It's TimOandHarley at Hotmail.
Hotmail.
There you go. .com.
Mail, baby. Yes, right.
So anyway, just want to let people know that yes, we are still out there in the world. We just never talk about it. So, also speaking of being out there in the world, Mr. Ben Harley, this weekend, as you listen to this, is Factor Fiction Fest, September 6th through 8th at the Indiana Convention Center in Indianapolis. Part of Horror Hound. Me and Angio will be there helping Bob, DVD Bob, at his table. Bob. Yes. And
Excuse me.
We will be sneaking over, I'm sure, a lot to Factor Fiction Fest just to gaze upon Jeff Byers looking like he's a Jack in the Box getting popped out. Poor guy. He sent me a note today. He's like, I'm sorry. I've been busy. I haven't been able to get in touch with you. And I'm like, stop getting in touch with me. I got all the empathy in the world for you. Do what you gotta do. I'll talk to you after. Yeah. I don't want to talk to you now. I don't want to bother you, So, but it should be a good time. Jess put his heart and soul into this, a lot of work. So come on out.
I'm happy for him. Yeah.
So I'd like to thank him again for taking time to be on the show last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Come on out and make Jeff happy. Give him some relief. Be his Calgon. Come to his show and enjoy.
Take him away. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So let's see. Get to a few things we watched here, Mr. Ben Harley. I'll go first real quick. Okay. I got a few things. I'm going to try to speed through them. We'll see how well that works out. I'm going to try.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. First up.
Lay it on me.
All right. So first up from 2016.
Ooh, that's almost like the future for you.
Yep. Went back and watched The Boy. Okay. So this movie stars Lauren Cohan. She was Maggie in The Walking Dead. You would like her. She's a nice looking lady. Nice looking young lady. And Rupert Evans, who is in Man in the High Castle. Even I watched a little bit of Man in the High Castle. I thought it was an interesting idea.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that, yes.
Yeah, I tapped out, though. I watched 2 or 3 episodes of Castle Rock before I tapped out on that, too. Let's see.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I thought about that. Is it that bad? Or we'll get to that
me.
later.
I think it's me. I think it's just me. Well, maybe. I don't know. So... But anyway, look, 2016 is not exactly a year that I'm championing for movies. You know, nothing really after, I don't know, 84 maybe, 1984. Do I even have that much of a There was a little spurt there around 2010 when we had some good comedy horror film, like Tucker and Dale came out. I think Rare Exports came out.
Behind the Mask
came out. Yeah, there were some good flicks that came out around then. So, but besides that, not really touting these movies. Now, I every now and then I will stick my toe in the water and I will try a newer movie. And there's gonna be a couple of them this week. There's gonna be a couple of them. This one, however, I went back and watched not because I remembered not liking it, because I remember actually liking it, and I didn't believe myself. I thought I was a hoax. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went back and I watched it. I am not a hoax. This is actually not a bad little movie. It's a simple movie. There's a woman who's running away from her abusive boyfriend. This takes place in England, by the way. It's an English movie. These are English actors and everything. So, she takes up a job watching an elderly couple's son while they go on a holiday. Okay. So we're talking, she goes to a castle, basically, to do this. So it's a gothic, right away, you're in a gothic story here. Well, when she meets the little boy that she's supposed to be watching, he's a doll. And they say, well, now hold on. These are all the rules you have to do with this child. But believe me, he's here. So that's how it kind of starts. Okay. I
would have checked out right then.
Okay. Well,
not with the movie as the babysitter or whatever.
Right. Well, she was running from a big bearded dude, so I don't know if she was getting scuffed in her face or he was just abused. I don't know. But
right.
So she takes the job, and I like the movie because it reminds me more of, like, people try to make movies that are like 70s movies and they try to make them look like them.
Yes.
I don't really need that as much as I just want the simplicity and just a story. Just give me something, and that's what this gives me. It doesn't give you a ton of murders and blood and mayhem. It sucks you in, and it's eerie. It's eerie. Did it scare me? No. But I liked it. It had a good atmosphere to it, and I don't hate it. And I think it's actually one of the better films I've seen that's come out in the last 10 to 20 years. Now, that's not a huge statement. Harley, confirm that for me. I'm not like going.
No. Okay. No. All
right, moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. Moving on. Yeah. Another movie that's it's actually only a year older, from 2015.
Wow.
I watched Sinister 2.
Sinister 2. Okay, what's 2? Okay.
Sinister.
I'm not really sure about Sinister.
I think it had Ethan Hawke in it. I think. Okay. And it was. I don't know. He played as his family moves into a house and they find film strips of people being killed. I think I watched it with Danny Hicks when he was here one time. It was okay. It was very forgettable because I can't remember it, but I know I didn't hate it. It was just like, okay, it was all right.
Okay.
I have movies stacked up that I need to watch, and sometimes I just throw a dart at the wall. So I grabbed this movie, and it was, I don't know, standard modern ghost horror shit. Wasn't really doing anything for me. A couple of interesting things. One, it's actually based off Children of the Corn.
Huh.
Yes, very odd. It's pretty obvious when you watch it, and then the info was given by the filmmakers. Yes, this basically is Children of the Corn. An homage to it.
Okay.
I don't know. Look, here's the thing. I just wanted to mention the guy in the movie, James Ransone, I guess his name is. He was actually really good. I liked it when he was in the movie. So he's this, I don't know, just a young, I think he was in the original one and he played a cop in the first one. And then they shifted the story into being mostly about him. And he's trying to help out a mom, and there's another woman running from abusive. Man, this is kind of becoming a thing here. I'm getting programmed.
That's a theme. Yeah.
Robots.
I think so.
There's robots everywhere, folks. Come on. Let's see here from, okay. Now, I have to watch my Westerns, right?
Yeah.
I got to watch my Westerns. So I got two of them for you this week. So number one, from 1970, I watched Adios Sabata, starring Yul Brynner.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of old Yul.
Yes.
Handsome fella, huh?
Yeah. Now, I wondered what on earth would make Yul Brynner be in a sequel to a movie starring Lee Van Cleef. And why wouldn't Lee Van Cleef play Sabata? And then I thought about it for a second. I went, hang on a second. This son of a bitch is Italian. It's a spaghetti Western. So, as suspected, I went and checked it out and looked. The movie was supposed to be called Indio Black. And that was Yul Brynner's character's name, but Sabata was a hit. And leave it to the Italians to make a little extra coin for the spaghetti sauce. So they,
spaghetti.
So they got a little bit, but it was all right. It was okay. It wasn't one of the best spaghetti westerns, but I mean, there was cowboy hats and dust, and people were shooting each other shit. So it's all right. Lots of voice work and everything else. So, but also from 1954. 1954, watched River of No Return, starring Robert Mitchum and Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh, that's right up your alley, my
Yes, I can confirm that Marilyn Monroe is still attractive.
Oh, yeah.
She's still very good looking.
Yeah.
Ooh, and she is curvy, like real curvy, like you actually see people look curvy. And I am not upset with my situation, Mr. Ben Harley, but dang it, I'm telling you right now, it's a handsome woman. It's a handsome woman.
Oh, yes. Yes, she is. And she was built for speed.
Ooh, she's built. Call me speed. Call me speed. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Also got a little Rory Calhoun in it. So he plays a scoundrel in it. Plays a scoundrel. So, directed by Otto Preminger, who directed Anatomy of a Murder, Laura, and Stalag 17. So pretty good movie though. Pretty good. They do have a lot of green screen stuff. It's like a raft. Robert Mitchum and Marilyn Monroe and Robert Mitchum's son are on a raft going down a river, escaping Indian arrows and bandits and stuff. And when they're on the raft, they're not on a raft. You can tell they're in a studio on a green screen, so it gets a little. But you got Marilyn in front, so who's looking behind her, right? Who's looking behind her? So let's see. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. What do we got here? Oh, from 1957. From 1957.
Okay. That's in your wheelhouse.
It is. We're getting back to where I'm comfy here. So we went back and watched 20 Million Miles to Earth.
Ooh, okay.
Little Ray Harryhausen action for you, starring William Hopper. So I guess I've been on a William Hopper freak out, and I don't even know. I just don't even know. Well, he's on Perry Mason, which I see almost every night. I mean, he's in like a bunch of these giant monster movies and stuff. And anyway, so there he is again. But man, what a fun movie, though. What a fun movie. I love hearing Harryhausen tell a story about how that got made, though. He got a trip to Italy out of that son of a bitch. He wanted it. What was he? He was going to destroy, what was it? London, because he wanted to go there, but that didn't work. So he decided to go to Rome or Italy, and that was pretty funny though. But what a great movie though. Good, real good effects, of course. Real good Harryhausen stuff. Yeah. He was really hitting stride at this point. Now, I did watch the colorized version just to see something different. I suggest to watch the black and white. Didn't really like the colorized version. I didn't. And I'm not offended by colorized versions of old films.
Are you offended?
No, I'm not. Some people were. I mean, some people were really offended. I'm okay as long as they're both available. You know what I mean? And if you get the Blu-ray of 20 Million Miles of Earth, both versions are available on it. So I'm fine with that. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so great movie. Stick with the black and white version. Let's see, a couple more things, Mr. Ben Harley. From 1956, going a year back again, watched The Black Sleep, which we did review. We did review that one. That's the one with Basil Rathbone, Lon Chaney, John Carradine, and Lugosi in it. And most of the horror stars are locked up in the basement in this movie. I don't know if you remember it or not, but Basil Rathbone plays the mad scientist in it. So yeah, it was all right. It's a fun little movie. Yeah. It's truly Lugosi's last movie. So if you actually want to see Lugosi's last movie, I mean, I know people say Plan 9. It's like, come on, man. That's like me taking stock footage of John Wayne and saying, I made a movie. It's John Wayne's last film. Until someone does it the next time. All right. So, but anyway, let's see. Moving on from 1981.
Whoa. The finest year? That's the finest year in film making history?
Absolutely. And I'm going to help prove it to you once again because I watched something that we haven't spoken about and you probably haven't thought about for quite a while. But when I say this name, it's probably going to put little warm butterflies all up in your gutty works.
Ooh, okay.
I
need that.
Dragon Slayer.
I was been thinking about going back and watching that, and I think I did pick it up right when I first the Netflix or Prime, one of them. But
it's on Prime.
I watched
right
a
now.
little bit of it.
It's on Prime,
and I forgot. Yeah, I forgot who's the goofy goober that plays him.
Peter McNichol.
And it, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I had an issue going back. I'm like, oh god, he's just too. I don't remember him being such a prissy little guy.
It was his first movie role. He doesn't even put it on his resume because he's embarrassed by himself in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he was fairly normal for a klutzy kid in a movie like that with knights and swords and dragons and shit like that. I don't know. I think
I used to love that movie. Saw that in the theater.
Oh, I did too. A couple times.
Yeah. And the dragon in it, I think is great.
Oh my god! And that's, yes, absolutely. Now here's the interesting thing. Now Ralph Richardson's in it. He plays the old coot. He plays the old. I like Ralph Richardson. He's pretty good in this.
Yeah.
Actually, it's also directed by Matthew Robbins, who did Legend of Billie Jean, Batteries Not Included, and Corvette Summer.
Oh, two of my favorites right there. I love Corvette Summer. And it's a silly little movie, but I still like it. And then Batteries Not Included is a pretty fun movie.
Right.
It's not a bad little movie. It's fun.
And here's the other thing too that I never caught on to. Did you know that dragon has a name?
No.
The dragon's name is Vermithrax pejorative.
Okay.
Vermithrax pejorative. Yes.
Okay.
That is the name. And I was looking it up the movie because I was really interested in it. I hadn't seen it for a little while. So I was just kind of looking around, and people were saying the best dragon on film is Vermithrax pejorative. And of course, at first I was like, somebody stoned. What is that? What's that supposed to say? I'm like, wait a minute. And so I'm watching the movie, and sure enough, Ralph Richardson says his name is Vermithrax pejorative once.
Well,
they don't go, there's Vermithrax pejorative. I don't think they would have gotten any of the actors.
I would hope not. You have to say that without a straight face. Huh? Yeah.
Richardson did great, though. I watched him do wow, he practiced that a lot. A whole lot. But here's the thing. Go back and watch the whole thing. Okay, I know Peter McNichol is getting on your nerves, but remember he played the goober in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, and I like him in Ghostbusters too.
I do too. He's funny. He's the only funny thing in it, actually. But,
for some reason, it threw me, and I was like, "Oh God," But I still like the movie because the beginning of that film's pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, and then they take the scenes with the dragon in the lair or whatever are awesome. It's a good movie. So yeah, you're right though. I should need to go back and keep at it.
Well, I think you should keep at it because something I realized when I was watching this, because we had talked a couple weeks ago, we were reviewing, what was it? Hellraiser. What was the other one too? It's the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, where I said these are fantasy movies masquerading as a horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if you go back and watch Dragon Slayer, you see if I'm wrong, but it is a horror movie that is masquerading as a fantasy film. Because it's horror. I mean, there's a little bit of magic in it. But besides that, man, them dragons are as serious as a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
And
then, like, even when he goes into the lair, there's a lot of body parts and things laying around. And then the girl that they sacrifice, that's a pretty intense scene, too, like at the beginning. And, And the baby
dragons in it that people forget, too, that are in that. I just think it's cool. He takes scales and makes a shield out of it. And it's a horror film because it really feels gritty and kind of realistic for what it is. And once again, go back and watch it because we are talking about some top-notch effects before there was any CG.
And it's still good, man. I'm sorry.
Better.
It's good.
Way better than any CG you will ever see, ever. I mean, I think it's Peter McNichol when he's looking over the side of the cliff and the claw just comes up over the cliff and just places its claws down. I mean, you're like, that's a dragon.
Yep.
That's not a computer. That's a fucking dragon. It might be a little one and the camera is panning in close and stuff, but it looks like a dragon. You know, I mean, so Oh man, but I mean, it's still a good movie. It's not an awesome movie, but it's awesome. It looks awesome, and that's the reason to go back and to see how much of a horror film it is. Even the villain in the movie, the bad night guy, who's got some crazy mad styles. Wears like black raven fur or something, and like got the big like sweat hog hair and everything. But he's even kind of like
sweat hog hair.
Well, I don't want to call him sympathetic, but he's not like rooted in evil.
Sure,
you know what I mean. I mean, he is what he is. I don't know. It's something to go back and check out. Something and need to believe.
Yeah, I almost put it back on the other day. I really did. It was funny because I'm like, because I did quite a few movies. I did so many movies I can't even remember all the movies I did.
Gotcha.
But I remembered a couple important ones that we can talk about. So.
Very good. Very good. Well, I would go back and watch again. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit more next week. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, moving forward, Mr. Ben Harley, last but not least, I knew you'd want to talk about this a little bit. I watched a movie on Amazon Prime, therefore you have access to it, called, and maybe you watched it too because you seem to find these things like I do, but I watched the movie Finding Jay. It's a play off of Finding Bigfoot.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So Finding Jay is a Bigfoot guy who kind of self-produced his own little glorified home movie documentary type of thing, how he goes and looks for Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, the movie, it's okay. I appreciate seeing someone who clearly isn't insane, who's going out and who's looking for things and he's talking about stuff. And he's really trying, I think, to be level-headed about things and stuff. This is worth watching for one reason alone. He interviews an ex-police officer, an older gentleman who was a police officer. And I believe this happened in the mid-'80s of the story. So the cop says he's driving, he gets a report of something going on. So he goes out in this back road, he's driving down the road, and he sees something walking, and it's holding something. It's late at night. So he puts his searchlight out, he puts his brights on, and he says he sees something like 7-8 feet tall, very broad, covered with hair, carrying something. And he's like, what is this? So you're thinking, well, that's a pretty typical cop story, except for the fact was he said, I kept looking, I couldn't see exactly what he was holding. And I yelled, hey, freeze, or whatever. And it spun around and threw the object it was holding like a discus. And threw it about 20, he said between 25 and 50 feet. It was night, but it was far. So let's say it was 30 feet. So he threw it 30 feet onto the hood of a squad car. It was a German Shepherd.
Oh, Jesus.
He threw a German Shepherd 30 feet onto the...
Holy crap.
So I was like, that's a good story. That's, that's
scary.
That's something. Yeah. So there's a couple things here that I felt kind of bad watching this documentary. We just had Mr. Jeff Byers on, our good friend. We've made friends who are in the Bigfooting world, and we've ad nauseum explained our different yet both enthusiastic interest in the Bigfoot phenomenon. Let's put it that way. So I got really I felt bad for the guy when I'm watching it because I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm like, that's not very unusual, my friend. And on video they have stuff. And I'm still looking at them going, that's not unusual. Like what they're hearing and stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you something about the rocks, okay? There's something, they were getting rocks thrown down. That's a big thing. Now, that's true. We don't have a lot of deer throwing rocks. But.
And so I don't want to run into them either.
Right. But.
Because they're badasses.
My front yard, which you've seen, is full of persimmons. Persimmons have persimmon, they have the fruit on the trees.
Sure.
When those things fall, it sounds like a cinder block hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. And they scare me. When I'm sitting on my front porch, they scare me to where I think something's being thrown. Now, back it up to where I'm watching this documentary, and they said that one of the odd things about the phenomenon is that when the rocks are thrown, they can't find the rocks. And I'm just like, oh.
Jeez. I get, oh my God. Okay. So,
Yeah. So I'm like,
yeah, Tim. Now you've been at my shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the back area where I print, and it's made me jump before. We have acorns.
Oh yeah,
and a big acorn tree out there. And the acorns aren't very big, but when they hit the top of that roof, it's loud, like pow, like.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never found a rock though, Timo. So a Bigfoot must. I don't know. I don't know.
Right. Well,
So
I'm not saying what my
no,
point.
I'm just joking.
Yeah,
though,
and
that could be
right.
I mean, if it's consistent, like they're whack, 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 whack. I don't know, but I mean,
my point more is that I'm not saying that people aren't getting rocks thrown at them. I'm just saying that everything you hear falling through the trees isn't a rock.
No.
So is that a more generous way of putting it? I'm just saying that all, and that's what I was kind of getting with Jeff in those interviews too. And I didn't push too hard because I was listening to him. I was trying to listen to what he was saying, but but I was trying to push him on the part where do you take that as gospel or do you take that as evidence where you go in that direction to see what's making that noise? Sure. I have a point of view that I could not have had up until a couple years ago.
Sure.
And it's not shaking my Bigfoot enthusiasm or interest. It's just shaken some of my I'm not going to accept that as something that can only be Bigfoot.
Right.
if you see a rock come through the trees that's about as big as my hand and it falls at your feet and you grab that rock and say, this rock just okay, fine. But if you're saying rocks are being thrown at you and you can't find the rocks, maybe it's not rocks being thrown at you. Maybe it sounds like rocks being thrown at you. Like a wood knock might sound like a wood knock, but if you see as many big branches that fall, as many trees that snap in half as I've seen, it's upsetting because I want the trees to stay on my property and they're snapping in half. It's not a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Sasquatch doing it. You've been here. It's very wooded, but there's not enough grand scale woods, I don't think, to support something like that. My personal opinion. But anyway,
it might be walking through. You never know. Yeah. Well, they might cruise through one day. Past your place, but I don't think they'll be hanging out. No,
if they exist, they could cruise through anywhere that's wooded. So, and I mean, it's not like it couldn't happen. It would be the last thing, even as someone who is interested in the subject, it would be the last thing that I would think was making noise, except for a shark. That would be the last thing that would be, I think, making noise. Bigfoot would be the one before that, and we know sharks exist. So. It's just about location, Mr. Ben Harley, isn't it? Just about location. What you got for me? You said you were pulling like a gorilla, just like a monkey pulling the squeegee across the screens.
Yeah.
So you had some stuff on your television there, huh?
Yeah, I rode a boat to England, it felt like, Timo. Yeah.
All right.
Or at least across the English Channel or something. Yeah. No, don't do that. Yeah. Let's see here, Timo. Let me pull this out. Whoa, wait a second. All right.
Let me duck.
Now, Timo, I do believe, let me get my little Shark Week rest of the thing out. Now, we did talk about a little bit, you and I, about Shark Week. Something that was interesting in this episode is they built a little submarine to follow behind the shark, right? And
one of the shows on Shark Week on Discovery Channel you're talking about. Yes, and they did build like a submersible, unmanned submersible to stalk a shark. Correct?
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
A little camera. So basically they tagged the shark with a little sonar thing, and then this submarine followed behind the shark, which is pretty cool and pretty ingenious, but I was surprised how surprised they were that the shark ended up turning around and taking a bite out of the thing after a while.
What?
So, yeah. Wow, really?
Sharks are cranky?
Yeah. Sharks are, they're a lot smarter than I think they are. So, but it was very interesting to see it from that perspective. One thing that they did show is where these sharks were diving really deep. Like 500 or more feet deep, going, I'm trying to think what the trench was. But anyways, doesn't really matter, Timo, because we won't be going there anytime soon. So, but this was really cool. One of the submersibles, and these things were only probably 6 feet long and maybe a foot in diameter. But the one followed the shark, and the shark was just going deep, and it just kept going, and it was really cool. It kind of just looked like a fighter jet just floating down, and you could tell the speed of it because it's pretty dark, Timo, down that deep. It's pretty darn dark. So, but the submersible had a light on it. So it was just picking up the bacteria and the organisms and things that were flying by in the light. So you could get a perspective of how fast it was going, but it was really funny. It looked like a shark going at light speed, like the Millennium Falcon. Kind of neat, but it was really
everything
cool.
Turned into stringy lines.
It was really bizarre, but it was cool because the shark wasn't not using its tail, fins, not just, you could see it tilt every so often and go further down, but it was really impressive to see. So I will say that episode was okay because I know I was beaten up on Shark Week in the weeks prior. But
tough guy with them. Yep.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny because the shark did attack the submersible a number of times, which I thought was quite funny.
It's kind of like the payoff for you to watch this whole thing going, you guys are idiots. And then you get your big payoff. It made a heel turn. It turned around and ate the submersible. Or took a bite out of it. Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Tim, I finally watched something that I know that I think you kind of like, or maybe it's just one of the films by this gentleman that you like. It was called Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah, the Eli Roth.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Eli Roth. He's in the movie. It was Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So now is it a remake of a film?
Well, there was a movie called Inglourious Bastards. It's a remake
60s?
in name only. I mean, it was in the 70s. I think Fred Williamson's in it. It's an Italian war film. I think Fred Williamson was a Bo Svensson.
Bo Svensson?
I think, or Bo, one of those two Bo's. Yeah, I got the dang thing on Blu-rays. So, yeah. I got both of them on, but go ahead though. But it's not, it's more of a remake in name, in that Inglourious Bastards is more of a straight war film, exploitation war film. And this movie is a complete alternate history, almost in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little, I actually did enjoy, I'd say 3/4 of it a lot. You know, at first I was like, it was intriguing in the beginning.
That's a great scene.
I'm not, that whole thing when they come up to the farmhouse.
Yeah, that's a great. That guy, I think, won an Oscar.
It's intense
for that,
man.
or he was nominated. He deserved it. That was amazing. That was great. Yeah.
The whole thing, both actors just working off. It was just intense, and I wasn't quite sure what was going down. And that stuff for me. I'm not a fan of Nazis, but I do like my wartime.
Right.
I do like my wartime films, and I'm very intrigued. I never met any Romans either, but I'm still intrigued by Rome too.
Right,
so, and that stuff. So, but anyways, I really enjoyed most of the film. Even Brad Pitt, when he first shows up and he says, I didn't come down from the goddamn Smoky Mountains,
right.
Oh man, just, he was good. The whole, I enjoyed it, but I guess what I didn't enjoy is the whole alternate universe thing there. I was kind of thrown off at the end, what the flip just happened?
Okay, I got you.
Because it came on real fast. I knew, I was pretty sure, Timo, in knowing what I know about World War II and history, that this was a little, it wasn't quite exact. Okay. So I kind of knew there was somewhat.
They were embellishing the war a little bit there, right?
Yes. But it did take quite a turn at the end that I was like, holy shit, wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it took it a little bit out of it for me, but whatever. I did enjoy it. Quite a vicious film, Timo, as far as they don't pull any punches. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. There's a lot of tension in that film. Now, that's what Hitchcock referred to as tension. That is what you got in this movie, which I think to Quentin Tarantino's credit. He knows how to build some tense scenes. So kudos to him. I thought it was decent. I really did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked the alternate. I think the alternate reality part I liked because it was something that I felt was, it's not overdone. I just, I thought it was kind of interesting. It was kind of cool. I didn't know what was going to happen because it was an alternate history. So I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool, but
it just happened so fast. All of a sudden I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay. It kind of seemed like it was pretty close to, no, come on. It was just, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe the ending just seemed like the ending was rushed real fast. But whatever, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I enjoyed most of it a lot, actually. I really did. Right. I thought it was fun, for the most part. Definitely different,
Oh, yeah.
Which is okay, too.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's stick with something, I guess, just as, sort of as violent, maybe.
Okay.
Or something that will stick with you as well.
Yeah.
I watched this movie the other day, Timo. It's called Lords of Chaos.
Lords of Chaos.
Yes. Have you heard of this film or saw anything about this? About the death metal band?
I've heard the name, but no, I haven't seen it. Was it on Prime?
Yeah, let's see, Timo. Is it Prime or it might have been Netflix?
It's on one of your streaming services. I was sure it's where I've heard of it. I'm sure it's where I've heard of it. The only way I hear about newer movies half the time is from that. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it's about a death metal band called Mayhem, and it's about like Norwegian death metal.
Oh yeah,
and
nuts.
Oh yeah, and about the guy who kind of started Norwegian. I'm sorry, not Timo. Norwegian black metal,
right?
In Oslo, yeah. So, but yeah, it basically follows the guy who kind of started the band.
So is this a true life documentary?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I mean that a true life biography movie, like a dramatization. This guy's like, really? Okay.
Yeah, and basically, and I didn't really know at first. I thought, well, is this true or and I think I had tried to start it a while ago, and then I started it late one night, which probably wasn't the best, but I wasn't in the
Did you summon demons?
Mood. I was about on the verge of it, So at that point, if you'd have helped me do some printing or heat pressing, I might have,
okay.
So
that wasn't there.
Demon, screen printing demon, So, it follows the gentleman who basically started black metal in Norway, and it follows him and the band starting the band, and like his lead singer like commits suicide, and he like takes pictures after like his lead singer blows his brains out, and then it's a very hardcore film, but you end up like the guy who's the main guy is like really kind of likable, and you end up kind of follow him through his whole starting the death metal or black metal stuff, and then going through. He starts his own like record company and record store, and then he gets this guy that comes in who is totally enamored with him and the band. But he kind of just thinks the guy's like a poser type dude. But he ends up listening to this kid's music and really digs it. And this kid's just like goes on to become like really big time Norwegian black metal guy. And he basically ends up, it gets a twist and turns where the main character who runs the band Mayhem, who owns the record store, puts it in the mind of this kid. He just talks a lot. He's like, we should burn down all the churches in Norway. Well, this kid starts doing it.
Right. I know that was happening.
So, so this guy starts getting the notoriety, but the other guy's trying to keep him in check. Well, I don't really want to tell you how it ends. You just go ahead and see it, but it doesn't end well. Let's just put it that way. And this is one of the movies, Timo, that really affected me watching. I like me some metal, Timo, and it takes place like in 86, 80 it starts.
Would it be in my heavy metal movies book that I got from Garrett Enlow?
It would be now, yeah, for sure. It's definitely up there, and I don't know, Timo, it's a pretty damn good movie. It's more of a horror film.
Sure. A real life horror film. It's fascinating mostly because it's real life. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Yeah, and I left this film like very few that I've seen hating somebody to the point where I was just like, oh God, like it's a hardcore film. But it's good. You'd enjoy it, I guess, as much as I could say you could enjoy something like this.
Sure.
But from a musician standpoint, they don't beat you over the head with the black metal, and it's constant. just blah all the time. They do a good amount of, you hear some here. They show them play live the one time, it's good. It's really good, but it's it's not for the squeamish. Let me tell you. All right, real fast. Okay. There's another one that I've been wanting to watch. It has my girlfriend in it. She just doesn't know it yet.
Okay. That sounds creepy too, but that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Shh. Yeah, don't tell her. Anyways, I watched
your secret's safe with me.
Yeah. A little film, another little horror movie called Babysitter that's just recently came out. I do believe it's on Netflix, Timo.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard about this one. It has Bella Thorne, who's my girlfriend. Shh, she just doesn't know it. Yeah. But yes, it's a pretty good little movie. It's okay. I give it maybe 2.5 or 3 out of 4. It's just the premise of this younger kid. He might be 12 years old, but his parents still make him have a babysitter. But this certain babysitter he has, she's quite hot. So his friends don't really make fun of him because she's hot, and they kind of envy him because, and she's really cool, super cool. And, it's just the dream babysitter, Timo. Okay. The absolute perfect babysitter. It's not really a kid's horror movie, but it's like a Fright Night type thing almost. You're like, holy shit, what just happened? It's a pretty hardcore film too. Okay. There's a lot of blood and not much sex in it, but a lot of sex talk and a lot of sexy stuff. And I put it like a Fright Night but a little younger of a kid in it. You know what I mean? The kid's more, he's not quite as old as what's his name in Fright Night. But it's
Charlie.
Charlie. I did enjoy. I'd say 3/4 of the film. If I was a kid of 12 or years old or something, and I watched that back in the day, it would have been okay. It'd have been like, wow, stuff. I enjoyed it. It's okay. It is what it is. It's called Babysitter. So you know what you're going to get out of it. It's not Shakespeare or Hamlet or anything like that.
Thank God.
Exactly.
It's not that. It's Bella Thorne. That's what you're trying to say?
Ooh, yes. Oh, hubba.
Well, that's all you got?
That's it.
All right.
That's it, my man.
All right, let's get to our one official film. I think for the next couple of weeks, we're going to do like one official film for a little bit due to the constraints of time, Mr. Ben Holly, in our private lives. Speaking of private lives, this film is from 1980, and it is called The Private Eyes. Let me get you out a real short storyline here for Private Eyes. And this is the 1980 Don Knotts and Tim Conway spoof of Sherlock Holmes films, if you were. So let me get out Movie Guy here and give you a little synopsis. Here we go.
Okay.
This spoof of the Sherlock Holmes stories finds Inspector Winship and Dr. Tart investigating a strange death in a possibly haunted mansion while dealing with the beautiful Harris and a crazed staff which live therein.
There it is.
The whole time I was watching this, I'm thinking somebody who made Clue involved with the making Clue made this because it really has that feel, that comedy, gothic. Early 80s kind of thing going on. So Tim Conway and Don Knotts play a Sherlock Holmes and Watson type of characters, and they go and try to investigate the murder of Lord and Lady Morley, who were killed in their car and driven off the edge into a pond, actually, in the beginning of the film here. So... yes, then, of course, the bumbling inspectors show up, and they go through the entire house staff and the heiress who had them come aboard. But something's fishy right away because they were requested to solve this mystery by someone, and they are clearly boobs. Boobs. So, now this one in my world, I don't know if it was in yours, you call them Showtime specials.
Yes.
I used to see this on HBO. So I don't know what channel it was, but it's a special. It was on cable during the day when they were only allowed to play PG stuff during the day. So this one was shown a lot. So I saw this a lot when I was a kid. I hadn't seen it for a little while, but as we were watching this, I was wondering if we had reviewed this before.
I thought we did upon reviewing or upon watching this. I was like, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong too, and we've been doing this for 9 years now, so it's very possibly did. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say we are revisiting this, and I would imagine anyone listening to this probably didn't hear us review it the first time. I would think so, and unless you actually like some of those people that go back to episode 1 and keep going, which is don't do it. You. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I'd start like episode 500.
Yeah, there you go.
even though we're at 468 right here. Start at 500. We'll get good then. That's when it gets good. Yeah.
It gets real good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but yes, I haven't seen it for a while. Now, I don't know what you have, what I gave to you. I have it on Blu-ray now. And the one thing I can tell you is that I have not seen it look this good.
Yeah.
Ever. I've never seen. I don't remember if I saw it in a theater. I can't remember.
I don't think I did.
I just don't remember. In 80, it's possible. I was 7 years old. This is right up my wheelhouse. What I would have went and saw, but I don't remember it all. But it looks, the Blu-ray looks outstanding. That's out.
Yeah.
But then we have the movie. I love Don Knotts and Tim Conway. I love.
Yeah, them. I do too.
And I knew immediately something was wrong when I was watching this. And I didn't even look it up, and my memory bank started going. And this is why I thought we may have reviewed this before, because I told Angie when we were watching, I was like, I'm pretty sure that Don Knotts was sick when they were making this. And I don't mean gravely ill, I mean sick.
Yeah, sick, yeah.
And so I looked it up. He indeed had mono.
Oh, wow.
Mono, not just the flu. He had mono when they were making this. Yeah. That might explain everything we're going to talk about in the next few minutes here.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So I guess we watched this last time we reviewed it, which I don't remember when it is then.
Yeah, I can't remember it either, buddy.
Right, so we're kind of coming back to it. What'd you think about going back to it?
Tim, I hate to be like this because I do like Don Knotts and Tim Conway. I mean, Don Knotts just, that goes without saying. Sure. He's just one of the best of all time. Mm. I think Tim Conway is one of the most underrated of all time, too. But I don't like him in this film. Mm. And it's not that he's bad or anything like that. I just don't find him that funny in this. And I actually like Don Knotts playing the straight man a little bit more.
Really?
I think he's okay. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like super great at it, but I don't know. This is one of those movies that makes me want to go back and watch, like Abbott and Costello and stuff.
Right.
Not that and I'm not trying to dog these guys because I'm a fan of the Apple Dumpling Gang, stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I really am. And those movies just give me the feeling of sort of being a kid again, and just, I know what it is, and the stories in those are kind of heartwarming. This one, I don't know. I don't know why I can't get into this one, I guess. I don't want,
Well, I mean, this is my theory, since you're talking about this is my theory. I don't think Don Knotts was playing the role that he was supposed to be playing. I think that Tim Conway was supposed to be the dumb doofus, which he played. And I think if you watch the movie closely, I would suspect that at least they thought that Don Knotts was going to do more of the scaredy cat Don Knotts thing.
Yeah.
Because that is what would make it funny. Is if Tim Conway did his dummy guy thing and Don Knotts did his classic, I know everything, I'm smarter than everybody else until I get questioned by anybody. And I'm scared of everything. Just like Barney, everything else. Right. Barney Fife and all the other, the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Mr. Furley.
Mr. Furley, exactly. But when he has mono, I think he's just acting and he's getting his lines out because he just doesn't have a lot of life to him. And it's sad because
he doesn't.
He wasn't super old at that moment. No. I mean, he could have pulled it off.
He looks very white, and I'm a white dude. And he looks very, you know what I mean?
Like
he does.
Toledo white.
He does. Like, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing. So I think what's happening is you don't like Tim Conway. My personal opinion, of course, I'm just projecting this onto you, but I'm saying that I think that's because that Don Knotts is just calling him a dummy. He's being mean to him.
Yeah.
He's being mean to Tim Conway, and there's no laughing about it because he's probably really sick of Tim Conway at that moment because he's sick. He doesn't feel good. And I think it really comes across. Look, the writing of this movie is not very good. The mystery part of it's okay. It's a standard old house reading the will type of 10 Little Indians, whatever you want to call it. So it's a standard little gothic little mystery. And it just seems like Tim Conway is trying to pull the weight of both of them.
Yeah.
And he can't do it by himself. He needs Don Knotts.
Not the physical comedy and stuff, too.
Yeah, right? And Don Knotts was good at calling Tim Conway a dummy, but that was usually to take the heat off the fact that Don Knotts just did something stupid. So you blame it on Tim Conway. There's your comedy right there. That's what's happening. And they both did stupid stuff. I think in this one, Don Knotts kind of floats back and forth between a true straight guy and not. I think it's just his health at the time.
That's
I like it. Takes place in 1940. I like that.
Okay,
that's cool. It was shot at the Biltmore Mansion at the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina. Mr. Ben Harley, I have been there.
Have you?
I have been in that giant place that they shot that. As a matter of fact, when they made this movie, they had to insure it for $400 million in 1980.
Wow.
Yes. That was your entire economy of Guam at that time. Okay. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So yes, it was. Everything was set up for this to be really a much better movie. But here's the thing. It's fun, but it's not funny.
No.
It's humorous, but it's not hysterical. I chuckled, but I didn't laugh out loud. And it's you tell me one of those old Don Knotts, Tim Conway movies where you didn't have at least one good scene. Where you're just like, oh, this one's got me. The ladder scene in one of the Apple Dumpling Gang movies, I can't remember which one it is, when they're trying to get the ladder in and out of like a stable or something. It's just hysterical. It's just funny as hell. And there's nothing like that going on in this movie. So it's really it's kind of disappointing. As a kid, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But as an adult coming back to it, it's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know, and it's funny, Timo, because I was telling you I was watching so many movies. I ended up watching It's a Mad World. Is that how many times you say
it's pretty close,
But there's some good stuff in that, and I meant to mention it to you that the Three Stooges had an appearance in that as well.
Oh, right.
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
boy, I haven't seen that in a long time. I've got it on Blu-ray too, but it's an investment. Yeah. It's an investment to watch that movie. It's long.
And it's one of those movies, same thing kind of almost with this, where it started out really, really funny, and then it just like after a while it drags on. Now this one, just like you're saying though, it just didn't have the punch to it at all anywhere for me. I don't know. It's a tough one for me because I like these guys so much, and I don't want to beat up on it by any means, but I think this is the reason I never really gravitated towards this one very much, and
the whole Wookalar thing.
Yeah.
They really should have had that going through the whole movie. He doesn't talk about Tim Conway has this imaginary hog monster that he has a superstition toward. He calls him the Wookalar. Well, he starts talking about it like 2/3 through the movie.
Yeah.
And then they try to make a punchline out of it at the end. And it's like,
at the end,
dude, I don't know where I didn't hear him talk about the Wookalar. Maybe I didn't hear it. I didn't hear him talking about the Wookalar until like 2/3 through the movie. And it looked like there were supposed to be running jokes that were not ran well at all. The carrier pigeon gag was just painful. It was awful.
Yeah.
The first one was, I remember when we reviewed this, I think the first time, the only time I laughed out loud during the movie, the first time we reviewed this, is when he threw the carrier pigeon through the window. My awful ass thought that was hilarious. This time I just stared at it because I knew it was coming. I remembered it. Every time they find, like, people keep dying one after another. All the house staff that they questioned, all the suspects are dying, as they do in most Agatha Christie-esque type mystery stories like this, or Sherlock Holmes.
Sure.
And, like, the notes don't rhyme. They have like a poem and the end of it doesn't rhyme. Well, that's telegraphed in the beginning because Lord Marley does something or whatever, but they do once, it rhymes once. And if you watch close, there's another one where he was going to curse, like say shit or something like that.
Yeah.
And they voiced it over really bad. I mean, even Angie notices. I said, "Yeah, that was voiced over." She's like, "You think?" You know, I mean, she's been watching these long enough to know, yeah, that was definitely voiced over. And there's just a lot of clumsy things to it. It's almost as if they were trying to piece whatever they could together. And I think the movie had partially been ruined by Don Knotts being sick. And there's not a bigger Don Knotts fan than me. You know that. I love me some Don Knotts.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
yeah.
And I don't blame him for being sick. It's almost like you wish they would have postponed the filming of this for a little while. Speaking of that, too, were you surprised this was 1980? I thought this was like 82 or 83. I didn't think it was 1980. And I know that somebody who's 20 years old today, that doesn't mean anything. But guys our age, we were kids then. And that's a big difference between 1984 and 1980 or something. I mean, I know it's odd, but I was shocked it was that old. I didn't think it was made that long. I thought it was early 80s, not 1980. Yeah,
this one just kind of escapes me. And then this might not have played very much, too, on the Showtime. I don't think it really did. You know, but I don't know, Tim. I had a tough time with this one. I really did, you know, and I feel bad. I really do because I want to like it more, and I just don't. I just don't. I don't go. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to give it. Look, here's the thing with me. I'm going to give it a really mild, almost an offensive Great Bape Up, and this is why. I didn't really. It's not really a horrible movie, and it's not super boring or anything, and it's got a little story to it, and the mystery wraps up. You can kind of see all of it coming a mile away. All of it you can see coming a mile away, but at the same time, it's fun to see it unravel. And it's always fun to see Don Knotts and Tim Conway, even at their worst, unravel, you know, too, a little bit. And I didn't stare at the TV the whole time. I did smile. I did chuckle a little bit. But it should be a big Great Bape Up. Yes. And by me saying it's the mildest of mild, I'm only doing it because I can't. Because but where you're coming from is you expected to put your seatbelt on and hang on to your hat because you thought you were going to start laughing and stuff. And it just doesn't happen. Yeah. The comedy is missing. Had there been a few good scenes between Conway and Knotts, just a few, it would have probably made this into more of a, not a classic, but more of a cult classic than it is.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. Timo. Yeah. I'm going to have to give this one up. Yeah, and I hate to do that. I really, really do.
Oh, I know. And I feel you.
I do like the girl, the main character. She's a hubba in it too, and stuff. But it just didn't save it for me. It just didn't.
No, and it's sad too because I don't know. You did see it when you were a kid, right? I mean, you did see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you had to have liked it more then. Not that you loved it and sought it out, but I'm saying, and I did too. I thought it was fairly funny, not hilarious, but it was humorous and it was on.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know people not older than us don't understand what we mean when we say it was on. A lot of these movies we saw over the years is because they were on. We didn't have DVRs. We didn't have VCRs. Nothing with an R on it. We didn't have an I or an R anywhere. Nothing. No. We had an antennae, which I'm still a proud owner of, by the way. But still,
exactly, buddy.
Well, you're going to get which I completely empathize and sympathize with. I get it. I'm not, because if I look around the movie. I mean, I thought the guy was it Bernard Fox who played Justin. I like him. He's pretty funny in it. I think some of the Erwin Keys is pretty good. The music hurts it. The music is too goofy. It's trying to help the comedy way too much to where it's noticeable. And in fairness, too, I don't have this written down, but I don't know why I know this. But I do know that the guy who did the music worked on the Carol Burnett show and did the movie as a favor to Tim Conway. And Tim Conway co-wrote this.
Oh, really?
So I don't know where it went wrong. I'm still going to hold on to what I said. Don Knotts was sick. He probably brought the whole production down. Because I think if he was on point, Tim Conway was on. He didn't have much to work with.
No.
But he was doing Tim Conway.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Not a lot of Tim Conway on his own is very successful. No. Even on the Carol Burnett show, you had Harvey Korman, to bounce off of, and Carol Burnett, and whoever else was on that week, and he was great. He was great bouncing people because he could make people laugh standing there easily, and stuff. And
he got his characters back then. They don't, if you go back and watch them now, they don't seem as poignant, I guess, maybe because we've seen all the, Saturday Night Live, In Living Color, all these sketch comedies over these years. But back then, when Carol Burnett was doing it, that stuff was fresh and funny, and his characters were I'd be crying laughing.
Well, Carol Burnett is on Carol Burnett. It's on MeTV every night.
Yeah,
and we do watch it sometimes. And the skits that still have Harvey Korman and Tim Conway I have had tears streaming out of my eyes.
Yeah,
watch this, especially when he's like the doctor who accidentally pokes himself with the anesthetic.
Yeah,
and his leg goes
like
numb.
Too,
and the old man. He plays the old guy.
The boss too. I like him. The boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Carol Burnett's got. She's like
so flighty. Ditzy.
Yeah. So
he has that really weird accent. Too.
Right. Exactly. So, I think he's in Milwaukee. I'm pretty sure he's around in them parts there, Ben Harley. And so he's doing that. But I empathize. I sympathize. I don't disagree with your on this movie.
Yeah.
I think I'm just grading it as, well, you know what? It could be a lot worse.
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
But I think where you're pooping on it is where, in reality, Tim Conway and Don Knotts, they actually drag the movie down a little bit, and they should elevate it. And probably no surprise, this is their last pairing together in a feature film starring. I think they did some voice work together, cartoons or something. I think it was even Don Knotts' last lead.
Really?
So what made me sad is I wonder if his sickness on that ended his, major career in films.
It could have.
I mean, I think he was still in Three's Company and all that, but I mean, it's
Mr. Furley. Yeah. But still, Mr. Furley is a great character. I've always liked that character.
Mr. Furley is legend.
Oh, it's awesome. He is just the funniest thing.
I want to grow up to be Mr. Furley. That's how funny he was.
Yeah. Oh, just too much, man.
I'm kind of growing up to be a little bit like him.
Yeah, you may be, Tim. Yeah.
Cranky,
you
kind of scared,
get you a
nervous.
Regal Beagle.
Yeah. Go hang out with Larry at the Regal Beagle. Yeah. So.
That's right.
All right. Well, you're giving Private Eyes I'm going to give it a super mild grade paper. Look, by anyone's standards, this is a disappointing movie.
I'm sad.
It's just not very funny. It's not a bad movie. It just needs to be a lot funnier. And maybe explain why ad nauseum. So next week, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go all religious on you. No, not really. But that's a teaser. That's a teaser. The movie next week was going to have something to do with religious symbolism on some level. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? So till next week, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky. We'll see you at Factor Fiction Fest, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.